Welcome back guys to our value investing channel. Disaster time for all our investing. Our portfolio in May just is performing minus 4.3% and we are losing the biggest part of the growth that we had in 2021 after 6 months in green. According to your comments, many of your portfolio are performing really badly in May because in the stock market all growth stock are performing really poorly. This is behind meat, for example, we have a minus 20%. This is Palantir as well, we have a minus 23% here. And again, we have a minus 24% at this moment. And this is not the first time that this kind of situation happen, because here is the chart of Bionano Genomics. It's just one stock that I take to give you the example of what happened in the market. We can see that we had the first big drop by end of February, starting middle of March. We have like minus 50% for many stocks. So the drop was around 30% to 50% for a lot of stocks out there. But why in March our portfolio was really not impacted and we performed positively in March, while nowadays we are going so deep down? So in this video we are going to discuss more deeply in detail about balancing of portfolio and rotation of portfolio, and we are going to discuss as well about strategies, if it's a good idea to buy when the price is going down, and strategy about time, so how long we are going to invest for. Even if the situation is really a red one, it's really interesting to understand what's happening in the market and to understand how to better manage our portfolio. Let's move again on the chart so we can restart from Bionano. We have seen in March a downturn of minus 50%, then the price just moved sideways, and then we have again one first drop of around 30% and a second drop around 34%. So the first period in time was from 16 February to around 4 March. So let's move on QQQ, that is the ETF on Nasdaq index, and we can see that from the same period 16 February to 4 March we have around minus 9-10%. So the first big difference is that this downturn in that period of time really strongly impacted all the growth stock, but not really all the business that we can consider more stable. This was mainly due to the bond interest rate that growth in that time. So when you are going to discount the cash flow or the value for a growth stock and you have a higher rate of discount, then the price will really move in a higher range, because a small variation on revenue and or a small variation on discount rate have a huge impact on the fair value of the company. Vice versa, our portfolio just performed positively because we were not so invested in this kind of company, but we were investing in different business that we cannot say that take advantage from the higher discount rate, but at least they are not impacted as the growth company. This is the chart of our portfolio, so we can see that in the same period 16 February to 4 March we have a minus 4.50%. That is half of what happened on Nasdaq, and it's really small compared to what happened to all growth stock. But let's move on, because the situation now it's becoming really interesting. In fact, we have seen that since this point we have a sideways of the price and then again a big drop. On the other hand, we can see that the Nasdaq just went up again since the previous higher value, and then had a little bit downside on around 4-5% nowadays. With our portfolio the situation was quite similar. In fact, we went back to the previous high value, but we continue to grow with higher value, and nowadays we are having a downside again around 4%. So nowadays our downside is in line with the Nasdaq, but still really small compared to the 30-20% that it's happening on all growth stock. But why in March we were not impacted at all, and in May we are just so poorly performing? Here we start with the first important point I want to highlight in this video, that is the balancing and rotation of our portfolio. So in March we had a really small exposure to all growth stock, but since then the situation just changed. In fact, maybe this is my mistake. I started a rotation of the portfolio and I added more growth stock, because my initial thought was that after that big drop down, all the down movement were almost finished. In fact, what pushed the market down in March was the fact that the interest rate in the US bond just went up till 1.6%. And actually I was quite right to think that those interest rates will not further go up, and in fact they just are side moving. But this new downturn of the market actually was not due to a real growth of interest rate, but was just a news. In fact, the Treasury Secretary Yellen just says that rates may need to rise as economy recovers. That actually is true, it is even normal, but just this news was enough for the market to think about further growth of interest rate, and then to have this big drop down of all the growth stock. So because in this period of time I added more growth stock to my portfolio, for example I bought DoYu, for example I had some more position in Beyond Meat and so on, so my portfolio were so badly impacted. And this again just tell us how much important to have a good balanced portfolio instead to have overweight in some sector or in some kind of companies. But now that we already are in this situation, what is the second biggest focus that I want to highlight in this video? It's about strategies. In fact, every time that we do investment, we need to know in advance what to do if our investment perform positively and what to do if our investment perform negatively. There are two main factors that I want to highlight in this video about strategies. First one, buy more when the price goes down. You can always do it if the business is not impacted, if you are still positive for the future of this company, so if the trend will be positive in the future. But be careful when you buy more when the price goes down, because if the business is poorly performing, then the price will still go down and down again. So it's not always a good idea to buy when the price is going down. We need to understand to evaluate time to time, business to business. In my portfolio, I do believe that all the company will positively performing in the future, so they can grow and the price can recover and get higher and higher in the future. But on the other hand, I already have an exposure to this company that is already high. So we are around 5% or 6% for those companies. So I decided to not buy more on this company because I don't want to be too much exposed with just one business. So I decided to buy similar growth company that are in a similar situation but are different one. Specifically, I bought Meituan and I bought Corsair Gaming. If you check the chart, the situation is really similar for all of them. So they are impacted from the same problem, they are in the same situation. That's why for me has been something to buy more of the same situation but without get an higher exposure in this specific business. I just want to remind that you can find a full analysis for almost all of those companies just in the playlist. I will leave the link just above. Analysis that are made by myself or in collaboration with the international value investing team I'm working with. Second important factor that we need to speak about in terms of strategy is the investing period. In fact, we need to understand if we are investing for a short time, let's say 1 year or 2 years, we are investing for a medium time, 3-5 years, or we are investing for a long time, maybe 10 years. Because generally speaking, we know that the small growth company will probably perform better than the large company in a long period of time, let's say 10 years. But when we go to a short period of time, those companies are really volatile. So when we add to our portfolio this kind of company, we really to think about it, we really to understand if this kind of volatility, this kind of risk really fits our portfolio or not. And even if it fits the portfolio, we need to always have a strategy and a plan to apply if everything goes right or if everything goes wrong. So this kind of downturn of the market are always useful to remind us how much important it is to have a right balancing in our portfolio, how much important it is to have the right strategies in investing. So let me know in the comment how your portfolio is performing, what kind of strategy are you applying in this kind of market, and don't forget to smash the like button to support our channel with YouTube algorithm. And if you like this kind of content, just subscribe to the channel so you will not lose any further video. Hope you like the content and see you in the next video.